To give us some insight into what pilots are trained to do in situations like this is Bill Hensley, a former Air Force pilot and instructor. Bill, thanks for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
These images are just so eerie. Now, let me ask you this. When one of these pilots was found, the first thing he said to the rescue was, "Tell these people I'm so sorry this happened." Is this what they're supposed to do when an airplane malfunctions? Punch out of it and let it go into a neighborhood or wherever it's going to go?
Well, that's not the first step. That's the last step of what they do in a situation like this. What they're trained to do is maintain aircraft control, analyze the situation, and take appropriate action. When the situation gets to the point where the plane is no longer flyable, what we are trained to do is to try to point it into an area where there will be no damage to anybody or property on the ground. If that's not possible, you point it to where there will be the least amount of damage. And I can guarantee you these guys were about a mile away from the ocean, so I can absolutely, without certainty, tell you that that was their goal, is to get it over there. But it was not possible based on the situation they were presented with.
And this is the third crash this year for the F18. There have been some questions raised about the fuel systems on these planes. How safe are they, and should they be grounded until they're checked out thoroughly?
I think that's a great question, and that's always the first thing that comes up when there is are several crashes with a particular aircraft type. But if you look at it statistically, based on the number of flights that are flown with FA-18s and all the various models, they're amazingly safe. If there's a pattern, then that particular system is really investigated. And if they can't figure out if a situation is fleet-wide, then they will have no problem with grounding an entire fleet, as they did what the Air Force did with the F-22s a while back.
And you know, this conversation's coming up again today, and this is a big deal for our community as well, and that's putting bases near residential areas. That has been a discussion in the military for a long time. And I know as a pilot, you've probably gone through that discussion yourself with superiors and others.
Absolutely. I've been involved in community discussions at various bases where I've been an instructor pilot. But I can tell you, oftentimes the bases are there before the houses and the communities are built around them. And also I can tell you that the commanders and the Department of Defense do everything that they can to have good community relations. In terms of flight patterns, often they're widely adjusted to minimize any impact, a possible crash on a takeoff or landing, or even noise abatement. And as you know, you see the public hearings all the time. They're very much trying to appease the surrounding communities if at all possible.
Yeah, it was 2008 that an F-18 crashed here in San Diego, the University City area. How often are these aircraft checked out for mechanical problems? What's the maintenance schedule like?
What a fantastic question. If other industries could follow this example, everything else would run about as well as aviation does. They are probably the most thoroughly checked out devices known to man. When you look at an aircraft, there's a logbook. Every action that is taken on an aircraft, every bolt that is turned, every wire that is secured is documented. And not only does that take place, but you have agencies such as the Federal Aviation Administration on the civilian side, and in the military, equivalent agencies that do that. I'm confident that when I step on any aircraft, any airliner or any military aircraft, that is pretty much the safest place that I can be.
Yeah. All right, Bill Hensley, thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for helping us understand what these horrible crashes.
Absolutely, and our hearts go out to anybody who's been affected by this.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.